Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson, and we're going to talk about sexual attraction today. This is a topic that was submitted by one of my patrons, Clayton. Thank you for supporting me, and this is a great question, so I'm going to address it here in a tea time episode. If you would also like to suggest topics for me to cover, you can hit the Patreon button down below and become a patron and communicate to me through there. Or if you want, you can join the Discord group and communicate with me there as well. But yeah, with that aside, let's jump into this. This is a personal growth topic, and I think it's a pretty important one, which is like, okay, sexual attraction. Let's go. Like, how does that work, especially when you transition? I think it's like funny because I joke about this, but I say I was straight before I transitioned, and I was straight after, and that's the model that I adhere to. I actually adhere or comply with a heteronormative model, so to speak. I like to date men now, and I like to have a normal dating relationship. I'm not so into being poly, which I know a lot of trans women love doing that, and that's totally cool. I love that style for them, and I have jumped in a few circles before with like other people who are poly, but it's just, I don't have time for it. There's so much emotional work that you need to do to take care of multiple partners. I don't have the time. I got to focus on other things. That's kind of like, okay, I'm getting more into relationship styles. I'm going to stop talking about that. I obviously have opinions on that too, so maybe I should talk about that. Let me know in the comments down below if I should talk about that. But hey, let's talk about sexuality. So, it's weird. Sexuality feels like something you could sort of have some control over, but there is an innate bottom root to your sexuality that I feel like can change, but you don't necessarily have the influence over changing. If anything, you really how have you evolved with your sexuality? Do you feel like it's been something that you can change, or does it feel more like something you're discovering about yourself? And does it remain static, or is it fluid? Does it change based on how you feel? Where is your sexuality within yourself? How do you find it, right? For me, when I transitioned, I was like, I only date women, and I've been a man previously. Now I'm non-binary. I still only date women. Now, I can look at a guy and say, a guy's handsome, but that doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean that there's any attraction. And I tried to actually experiment when I was transitioning to start with, to try date men, and I could only date gay men because I was non-passing. And being seen as gay by another gay dude just didn't work for me. It did not fit. And I actually had a lot of homophobia against myself, not against other gay people, or not even about me being gay, but because I knew in my heart of hearts that I was not gay. And the problem with being feminine when you're seen as a man, and girls, let me know if you can relate, is you can be perceived as being gay because gay people have co-opted femininity in a way where now it's like, oh, like I'm queer, and like, yeah, oh my God, go girl, and all of that. And they do the dress up, and they do all of that performative femininity, which to me also makes me feel a little irksome because I put so much effort into presenting as a woman and being feminine, and then you have this other celebratory thing of men dressing up as women, performing as women, but ultimately they're men in dresses. And the whole man in a dress thing, like being perceived as a man in a dress, is so freaking painful. Like, do you feel that? Anyways, I'm gonna push that aside. We're gonna get back to sexuality. I think that for me, my transformation happened at a year and a few months. I ended up breaking up with my girlfriend because I needed to experiment dating men, and she would not let me pursue a non-monogamous relationship. It was just too much for her. And in pursuing it, I found out that I'm actually way more straight as a woman than I was. No, I guess I was the straightest when I was a man because I'd never really done anything with people on the other side. But as a trans woman, I kind of took some of that experience with women and I kind of kept that attraction, but it no longer emotionally works out for me. So then it's sort of like I can get with a woman and I'm down to get with a woman, especially trans women. For some reason, I like trans women. I'm a chaser. No, not really, because, I understand trans women. I treat them like women, but I don't want a relationship with a trans woman. We can hook up. I think you're hot, you're cute, and all of that, but I can't get with you in that emotional way. I only find that with not trans men, but with men. I haven't dated a trans man, but I'd be open to it. Because it's about the masculinity. That's what it comes down to for me. Sexuality is about finding your balance, finding the things that create this alchemy within your body that feels right. And I say alchemy intentionally because sex has a lot of energy to it, and it can be so transformative. You can be in the middle of a very hot sex scene and suddenly there's like a catalyst and you change and you see something for the first time, or you realize something within you that has been wanting to be expressed and activated and turned into this new transformed version of you. I remember I went on a date with a very experienced Dom. He has like over 30 years of experience. He speaks on this topic and we talked a bit about it. And he talks about the myth in kink. He talks about how people have this innate self that is pursuing this myth of what they are wanting to activate and express and experience, but it's locked away in some kind of shape that's self-controlled because of the society that we live in. And through sex, they can find a way to activate and kind of pull on this chain of their own myth. Now, I want to take that concept and talk about sexuality here, which is that there is a part of you, and see if you can find that wants to be expressed and wants to experience things. For me, I want to experience being a woman. I want to experience the most feminine self, the most feminine version that I can possibly be. And the best way of doing that is to actually find someone else that occupies the other space, that occupies the masculinity, because those people want you to be more feminine, or I don't know, there's hyper-masculine gay guys, so let me just people for me that are masculine and want to see me in a space where I'm at my maximum feminine, that to me makes me happy. It makes me feel validated, but it makes me feel like I'm expressing this part of myself that I can't express in daily life. I'm talking to you, I'm speaking in a way that's feminine, but am I completely moving in a way that's feminine? I don't experience myself completely as feminine, and that's okay. I've come to terms with that. I'm not going to perceiving myself as the most feminine thing ever that I want to be when I experience myself doing things sexually with a man who sees me in that way. But that has helped me frame what kind of structure works for my own sexuality, what feels right to me. And I think that's ultimately how sexuality works, is it's about finding the partner that can work with your alchemy, that can work with your vibe and how you want to move and feel, and all of that energy related to sex. And I think you can be a straight man transitioning into a trans woman and still just want to date women. It just needs to be in a way that finds balance for you. So yeah, I don't know where you are in your transition or how you're transitioning, but I think this is something to think about, is what brings you balance, or do you want imbalance, and how do you get that? Is it gender related? Is it genital related? Or is it just person related? Is it just their mind and what's in there? Sexuality is different for every person. And I think there's many arguments to say, well, some people who are born with a hetero model in their head continue to perpetuate that, which might be me. But I definitely am attracted to women, and I definitely still want to get with women. So what's that? Is that a hangover from my previous life? I don't think so. I don't think it is just a genital related thing for me, to be honest. I really think it's an energy thing. I want to vibe. That's how I vibe. That's how I do sex. I want to vibe. And having someone who can be, I guess, more dominant is also something that lets me vibe. Like, I like trans girls who are dominant because then it doesn't mean I have to do everything. And I like that. And it's hot. But they are missing that masculinity piece. And I don't think they should take on that piece for me. So I digress. Those are my thoughts. If you'd like to chat with me and join my group, you can hang out with me on Discord, or you can also support me on Patreon. This was a Patreon submitted question. Thank you, Clayton, for suggesting it, and I'll see you guys in another episode soon. Bye.